Welcome everybody to the cryptocurrency live stream and welcome to Daily Crypto Technical Analysis. On today's live stream, we are going to do daily Bitcoin and also daily Ethereum price prediction for intraday trading using different indicators and also price action. As of right now for Bitcoin, it definitely does look like we got a beautiful bounce almost exactly at our diagonal support level from our SNE channel at approximately 47,300 US dollars. And as of right now, we are actually already trading at one of the very important resistances here on the Bitcoin chart. On today's live stream, we are going to be mentioning where we actually have another massive resistance level. If Bitcoin is actually right now going to see even higher price targets, I am going to show you Elliott wave price structure because as of right now, it actually does look like we actually got 5 wave move to the downside, 1 wave or actually second wave right here, third, fourth and also fifth Elliott wave right here. And as of right now, definitely does look like we are once again seeing a pull to the upside. I'm going to show you what does that mean right now if we are right now looking actually at this specific Elliott wave price action right here. Also, on today's live stream, I'm going to show you a brand new descending channel forming right now on the Bitcoin price because it does look like if this is right now actually a lower low right here, definitely we can actually make another descending channel and also potentially another horizontal daily support level on Bitcoin. After we are done with Bitcoin price prediction, after we are done with Bitcoin technical analysis, we are going to go straight to Ethereum. Also, Ethereum bounced at one of the very important key support levels at approximately 3,107 US dollars. And for Ethereum, we are going to be mentioning where is going to be our resistance level. If we are going to pull a little bit higher, I'm going to show you brand new daily support level for Ethereum. And also, if right now we are going to continue our way to the upside, I am going to show you a potential harmonic pattern forming right now on Ethereum and actually also on the Bitcoin chart. Also for Ethereum, we are going to be looking on Ethereum Bitcoin as of right now at the daily support level, also breaking a very important diagonal level. We are going to be mentioning that on the Ethereum BTC chart today. And also I'm going to show you another daily, very important daily level forming as of right now here on the Ethereum BTC right here. After we are done with Bitcoin and Ethereum, of course, we are going to look at a couple of the altcoins that you are going to suggest in the chat. And also maybe I can also show you or actually tell you what altcoins I actually also bought today. I actually bought 3 different altcoins and actually it's not Solana, it's also not Luna. I'm definitely potentially going to tell you later what altcoins I actually bought right now for, I would say maybe even for holding for the, let's say, next couple of months, let's just say. With that being said right now, I really do hope you are having an amazing day today. And also make sure right now you're actually relaxed and you watch the entire live stream because it is going to be for sure a very interesting one. With it being said, let me just welcome everyone on the stream and then we are actually going to go straight into the Bitcoin technical analysis, Ethereum technical analysis, and also we are of course going to also look at a couple different other cryptocurrencies, different altcoins. GRN PTRS, welcome man to the stream. Martin, welcome to the stream. I lost $50. I panic sold. Good price. Interesting. I mean, definitely if we are seeing movement to the downside, I would only be interested into a potential buy. I mean, hopefully you are actually going to get your capital back. Welcome Naveen Dorai to the stream. Woohoo, back to earlier live streams. Yeah, as of right now, I would definitely say we are having the live streams a little bit earlier, but we are going to see how that is actually going to go in the future. Welcome man to the stream. Andreas, is it a dead cat bounce? In my opinion, no, but I'm actually going to show you what I think right now can happen with Bitcoin in terms of actually the Elliott wave price structure we are developing right now on Bitcoin. Yoshi, Bitcoin to 50,000, welcome into the stream. Extro Elite V2 Bitcoin gonna reach 51,000 US dollars. I mean, hopefully that's going to happen. And also, of course, welcome man to the stream. Mark, you are the best. Can you look at CHZ after Ethereum? Definitely. We can also go through CHZ USDT on Binance. I'm going to add this one straight to my watch list right here. And later, when we are done with Ethereum, we are definitely also going to go through CHZ USDT. This name is okay. Bullish on earlier live streams. Very, very nice. Welcome into the stream. Navin Durai, bro, can you please check audio? Yes, we can go through different altcoins. Definitely also through audio USDT a little bit later. After, of course, we are done with Bitcoin, and also when we are done with Ethereum. But with all of that being said right now, let's go straight into the Bitcoin price prediction, Bitcoin technical analysis. So what we can actually right now see on the chart, where Bitcoin actually bounced off of. I think I was mentioning this specific support level already on yesterday's live stream. I mean, I do know I actually showed you the golden pocket, which in my opinion, of course, was still, or actually still is right now, very, very important support level, approximately 46,400 US dollars. But on yesterday's live stream, I'm almost 100% sure I, of course, talked about our SNE channel that, I mean, Bitcoin has been respecting for very, very, very long time. So literally, we almost bounced exactly to the dollar accuracy at our diagonal support fib. So if you look like that, 3 days ago, we literally got the exact same setup on the Adler stochastic CG oscillator. So what do I mean by that? We got a double bottom right here. We got a pull to the upside. And also, for example, today, we got some kind of a double bottom. Definitely, in my opinion, it was actually not the nicest one. I mean, I would personally actually consider this one being a double bottom because you can actually see we got some kind of the very, very weird, I mean, something like that. You can actually see some kind of a double bottom potentially right here, pull to the upside, double bottom right here, pull to the upside, double bottom right here. Definitely, of course, we also got a pull to the upside. So once again, it does look like Adler stochastic formed some kind of a double bottom right here. And maybe even if you would not really be looking at the Adler stochastic and you would not really be saying that this right here is or actually was a double bottom, you can definitely, of course, literally go with every single indicator, let's say MACD, money flow, RSI on the 2-hourly time frame. If I'm correct right now, literally every single indicator was forming a bullish divergence. Lower low, higher low. Higher low on the money flow, higher low on the RSI right here. And I mean, once again, literally every single indicator there was, I mean, important indicators in my opinion. MACD, money flow, RSI. And if I'm also correct, we got some bullish divergences on the OBV indicator. So yeah, you can see it right here. Lower low right here, higher low right here. Once again, it was definitely a bullish divergence on literally almost every single indicator. Very important indicator, double bottom on the Adler stochastic, support level right here. And of course, because of that, definitely Bitcoin got a pull to the upside. So once again, remember, personally, I do not actually feel comfortable going with a long or a short position when I see a divergence forming only, for example, on one specific indicator on potentially one specific time frame. But in this example, you clearly saw we had a support level. We got 3 different indicators confirming a bullish divergence and also Adler stochastic forming a double bottom. And I mean, if I'm correct, we also got a bullish divergence on MACD on the 4-hourly. Yes, you can actually see right here, higher low right here, lower low right here. Definitely, it was actually hidden bullish divergence forming on the 4-hourly on the MACD indicator. So clear, you can see literally every single indicator formed a bullish divergence. We were at the support level. What happened? Bitcoin actually got a beautiful bounce exactly at the specific support level, approximately 47,350 US dollars. I mean, if you are maybe right now interested into my positions, what positions I'm holding right now, I am holding a couple of long positions. I'm also actually going to show you where is going to be exactly my next take profit area on Bitcoin. I mean, all I can tell you right now, as of right now, Bitcoin is actually already at the resistance level, just something to be aware of. So for example, if you actually really did went with a long position right here, I would just like to tell you, in my opinion, it's actually a good area for a potential first take profit on the Bitcoin chart from the long position. Of course, unfortunately, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not saying we cannot see right now a pump to the upside towards 100,000 US dollars, but nevertheless, of course, it would be some kind of the key level, resistance level forming as of right now on Bitcoin. And we are, of course, also going to go through this resistance level on today's live stream. I'm going to show you exactly why the area approximately 49,000 US dollars on Bitcoin is actually a key level for me right now on the Bitcoin chart. So let me right now actually remove our SNE channel here. and what we are going to apply on our chart right now. So for the past couple of hours, for the past couple of days, actually this was the top on 23rd of August. Today, once again, is actually 25th. So let's say for the past 2 days, Bitcoin, of course, has been getting lower highs and also lower lows. Actually, we can go right now with a path tool. We got a high right here, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low right here. So clearly, of course, what we got right there was a bearish market structure. Of course, clearly this was actually a defined downtrend on the Bitcoin chart. And of course, if we have low right, if we have the high, lower high, if we have the low, if we have a lower, low and lower low right here, we can definitely then go with our channel right here. I'm going to show you another descending channel forming right now on Bitcoin a little bit later. But let's connect right now the high with a lower high, expand this one to another low right here. So what you can actually right now see, in my opinion, this descending channel was actually, I would say it's important because, for example, if we would see lower price targets, definitely, of course, if you would right now go with our Fibonacci retracement, looking for Fibonacci expansion levels, definitely you are going to see our 2-to-1 Fibonacci expansion level was the area of our diagonal support level, for example, right here. And also, for example, if you would be measuring the entire pull to the downside like that, putting this one right here, we definitely also got our 0.618 Fibonacci extension level at the diagonal support level of this descending channel. So definitely, of course, it was some kind of the support level, 46,900. I'm definitely going to talk about the elite wave price structure we have right now on the Bitcoin chart because, this right here was clearly, of course, 5 waves right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but of course more about that a little bit later. So once again, we broke a diagonal level to the upside. Once again, on the break of the diagonal level, this is then of course going to be a bullish indication why Bitcoin can right now actually see higher price targets. And clearly you can actually right now see we got the hourly close above our diagonal level, above our descending channel right here. And of course, for example, also if you would actually look at the volume, clearly in my opinion, we can clearly see we got a spike in the volume right here. Definitely a pump to the upside we got right here was volume supported, which is in my opinion very, very important. Literally what is moving the market? Volume is moving the market. So if you see bullish volume right here kick in, we got a candle close above a diagonal level, which would be considered bullish right here, of course, would be a bullish indication on the Bitcoin chart. Potentially, of course, if you would be interested, of course, you could be looking to go maybe even with a long position, of course, at the break of our descending channel to the upside right here. But also, of course, what resistance level we actually also got at this area. Let me just show you that, because if you would right now be measuring with a fixed range tool right here, I would definitely like to measure the entire price action. What we are going to see, our value area low right here was actually our volume resistance level, which clearly, of course, we broke to the upside. And also, if you would go and measure yesterday's volume, what you're actually going to see, measuring the yesterday's volume like that, going on the hourly time frame, our previous day point of control was actually also around this specific area, of course, once again, forming some kind of the resistance level. So right here, of course, was some kind of the resistance level for Bitcoin. Nevertheless, we got the volume increase on the break of a diagonal level right here. And of course, it does look like right now we are definitely higher than where we were actually on the break right here. So once again, the break of a diagonal level is considered bullish. I would still, of course, pay attention to the horizontal resistances, but nevertheless, because we actually got a volume increase on the breakout out of the descending channel right here, definitely does look like right now Bitcoin actually moved even a little bit higher right now. So I would right now actually like to talk about our 5-wave structure Bitcoin actually formed right here. So maybe you know something about the elite waves, but how I would actually mark those elite waves we formed right here on the Bitcoin chart. So simply, we are actually going to go with this specific tool, elite impulse wave, and we are going to right now say that this right here was our first impulse, or actually first elite wave. We got the second one right here, we got the third one, we got the fourth one, and then of course we also got the fifth elite wave. Of course, if you also want, you can also actually go with your elite corrective wave right here. We got, of course, our A wave right here, our B wave, and then of course this one here was actually our C wave. We can also go with this one. We got our A wave, our B wave, our C wave right here. Once again, A, B, C correction, something like that. Clearly what we can actually right now see that our B wave actually went past our 1 wave, and also our B wave right here also actually went past our third elite wave right here. So what does that mean? If we are creating a higher high, that pretty much means it's actually a flat type correction on the corrective side of elite wave. So for example, if you would go on the 30-minute, we got the A, B, C pull to the upside, we got the A, B, C. Once again, it is the higher, I mean, this one, in this case, of course, it's a lower low, but nevertheless, of course, it's a flat type of a correction. And as of right now, as I said before, we broke a diagonal level, which in my opinion is important. And because of that, in my opinion, right now, we could actually be expecting a little bit higher price targets on the Bitcoin chart. I'm actually going to show you exactly how far I think Bitcoin is going to pull to the upside. And once again, what we could be potentially expecting, some kind of the ABC move to the upside. So 3 waves, I would actually say 1, 2, 3, potentially something like that, pull to the upside before, of course, we could maybe even see lower price targets on Bitcoin. But as of right now, to be honest, I am bullish on Bitcoin. And I mean, once again, I would not really go with a buy or a long position where we are at the moment. But nevertheless, I mean, we broke a diagonal level to the upside. We also right now actually also do have our bullish market structure, because if you look like that, this right here was actually our previous high. This was the low. This was also the high. This was the low right here. Clearly, you can of course right now see we broke through the high. We right now also formed a higher high. We have bullish market structure, and if Bitcoin right now is going to see a pull to the downside on a higher low, we could potentially be interested into a potential buy here on the BTC chart. But once again, we could, in my opinion, right now be expecting at least some kind more movement to the upside, some kind of the ABC move to the upside before, of course, potentially we could continue. Let's say maybe we are this forming right now a zigzag correction. So what does that mean? A, B, C, maybe something like that. But actually, in the next couple of live streams, I actually have a very good, I would say, argument why potentially Bitcoin could actually see lower price targets, because actually one of the Fibonacci times is actually coming in around September 2021. And also I also have another very important thing that is right now indicating us that Bitcoin could actually go in September 2021 a little bit lower to the downside, I mean, and then potentially, of course, continue its way to the upside towards another all-time high. So I am most probably be going to talk about that in the next couple of live streams, most probably, let's say in September. Let's say in 1 week from now, I'm going to actually be talking about why, in my opinion, Bitcoin could actually see lower price targets in the next, let's say, literally, maybe even the entire September is right now actually going to be bearish, and I am going to be showing to you why, in my opinion, this can actually happen right now. But once again, as of right now, we broke actually right now our previous high. We have bullish market structure, and because of that, let's just see if we are actually going to right now see higher price targets. I am going to show you exactly where potentially I would be interested going with a short position on Bitcoin, and also where is going to actually be, as I said before, my take profit area from the long position I actually took. I mean, once again, I'm holding a couple of long positions on my different accounts right now for Bitcoin. I mean, literally, why did I went with a long position? We got so many bullish divergences on different indicators, double bottom on the Adler's, support level right here. So, of course, because of that, it was, in my opinion, of course, a pretty high probability trade. And, of course, if you then also feel comfortable, you can also potentially be looking to add something to your position on the break of the diagonal level. So, definitely, this very nicely played out. If you actually played a long position, or, of course, if you looked at those bullish divergences, congratulations to you. But let me just right now show you a descending channel before I actually show you at what important level Bitcoin is right now actually, as of right now, actually trading around. So I would actually like to go once again with our parallel channel. I mean, if you have been maybe watching my videos and also the live streams for the past couple of days, most probably you would know that we were actually looking at some kind of the range right here. This was actually some kind of the range Bitcoin has been forming. To be honest right now, I mean, in my opinion, definitely the range was broken right here to the upside. The range was also broken to the downside exactly right here. So to be honest, I do not really like this range anymore that much, to be honest. So because of that, I'm going to remove it. But what we are going to do right now, we are once again going to go with the channel right here. Because Bitcoin right now actually formed a lower low right here. We have the low, we have the lower low, and we actually have the high. So we literally have right now 3 important pivots. And because if we actually do have right now 3 pivots right here, we can of course create another channel here. So we go from the low, we go to the lower low, expand this one higher. So when we are looking at those channels, so we definitely want to see levels being respected. And what we can see right here, we can see mid-level being respected almost to the dollar, mid-level right here to the dollar, mid-level right here to the dollar. And of course, if we are right now going to go higher, I mean, clearly you can actually see we have right now a diagonal level at approximately $49,700 US if Bitcoin right now is actually going to move a little bit higher. So of course, purely because there is a diagonal level, personally, I will not be looking for shorts, but I actually do have actually a pretty good reason why we could definitely be more interested potentially shorting another key level if Bitcoin is right right now actually going to see another pull to the upside. As I said before, we could actually be forming maybe even a harmonic pattern right now on the BTC chart. But yeah, this is right now actually going to be our descending channel. So for example, if we are right now going to actually see a pull to the downside, I mean, clearly you can actually see the mid level here, support level right here, resistance level. It is some kind of the key level at approximately $48,261. So definitely I'm going to have this specific channel right now still on the chart right here. I mean, let me just see this one, for example. No, actually, this one right now, it's actually not going to be very much important because, I mean, we bounced off of this level today. I mean, the mid level is definitely going to be much higher right now at approximately $51,500. So we are not going to be using this one as of right now, but definitely we can still actually have this descending channel on the Bitcoin chart right now on the chart. So what we are going to do right now, we are going to try and find a resistance level Bitcoin is right now trading at, because once again, after a pull to the upside, I would personally not be interested going with any of the buys. I would only be interested going with a potential sell position on Bitcoin, going with a potential take profit area if you potentially long the bottom right here, or maybe no position if you maybe do not feel comfortable going with a sell right here. But once again, I would not be looking to go with any of the buy positions where we are at the moment, because simply we already got a pretty big increase in the price, approximately 4% pump to the upside, and because of that, once again, I would only be interested into a potential sell, into a potential short position as of right now on Bitcoin. So why is right now this area right here a very important and key level on Bitcoin? So first thing we can actually do right now, most probably the most obvious one would be our Fibonacci retracement. We can go from our high right here, we are going to go to the low of the move right here, we are going to apply on the chart our Fibonacci retracement, where we can actually right now see our golden pocket is right now literally exactly where Bitcoin is at the moment. So where we are, it is of course going to be our golden Fibonacci ratio. So very, very, very simple. The golden pockets, in my opinion, it is literally dangerous for you to be looking to go with a long or a buy. I am not saying we cannot break the golden pocket to the upside, but nevertheless right now, it is golden Fibonacci ratio. It's a resistance level as of right now, and because of that, I would definitely not be very interested going with any of the buy positions where Bitcoin is actually right now at the moment. But not only right now that our golden pocket is actually right here, if we would apply our volume weighted average price, we're actually going to go with our weekly VWAP. What you're going to right now see, our weekly VWAP for Bitcoin is right now literally exactly where we are at the moment. So clearly you can actually right now see, previously, we got the weekly VWAP right here, and I mean, once already the exact same setup. We go from high, we go to the low, where we actually got a rejection off of, to the dollar from the golden pocket, and of course also our weekly VWAP was acting as our resistance level. We got a significant pull to the downside, and literally right now the exact same thing is happening right here. Golden pocket on top of our weekly volume weighted average price, and not only that right now. Remember our daily level we have been mentioning on the channel for the past, I would say, yeah, literally couple of days. So let me right now remove our support and resistances. The daily level at $48,841. It is right now literally going to be exactly at our golden pocket daily horizontal level, and of course also our weekly volume weighted average price. So once again, where Bitcoin is at the moment, in my opinion, it's not a good time for you to be looking for buys. We are looking for buys at the support levels. And once again, we were mentioning the support level already on yesterday's live stream. Maybe you would need to be a little more creative to actually spot those bullish divergences right here. But nevertheless, once again, at the support levels, only buys, the resistances, only potential sells. But I can already tell you, I still haven't taken a short position from this area. I'm going to show you where I am most probably going to be looking for shorts if Bitcoin right now is going to actually move higher. But I mean, why I did not took a short just yet right now? Because literally we do not really have any major sign of a rejection at this specific level. Yes, I did take profits from my long position. This was, in my opinion, very good take profit area, because once again, it is clear, of course, resistance level, why not take some profits? But as I said before, I still haven't entered a short position from this specific resistance level, because the reason for that is because right now, as of right now, we do not have a proper sign of a rejection as of right now here on the Bitcoin chart. So let's say like that right now. If we do not have a proper, I mean, maybe, of course, 1 minute after the live stream ends, maybe completely different, we are going to see a reaction and, of course, a pull to the downside. Then, potentially, I would be going with a potential short position. I am not going to go with a swing short right here because, as I said before, I would potentially be expecting some kind of the ABC move to the upside on Bitcoin. But nevertheless, potentially, of course, take profit area could be, let's say, mid-level right here, 48,300. I am going to be covering support levels a little bit later. But nevertheless, where Bitcoin is right now at the moment, once again, it is our golden pocket, golden Fibonacci ratio. It is once again going to be resistance level on the Bitcoin chart. So I'm going to right now actually, let's still have the daily level on the chart for now. Where is going to be our next key level on Bitcoin if we are going to continue our way to the upside? Before I actually show you that, because it is actually a significant level. If you haven't already, please smash up the like button, because I would definitely like to say, in my opinion, we could be reaching at least 600 likes on today's live stream. Make sure the like button down below, actually, this turn blue, it's literally going to take you only 1 second. So let me just go like that. Let's go like that. And also, let me actually search for a rocket right here. Let me push out the comment right there. Let me also maybe pin it right there. So yeah, once again, if you haven't already, please smash up the like button. Join the Discord completely for free. All of the links are actually down below in the description. If you actually want to join the discussion about Bitcoin, Ethereum, altcoins, definitely, once again, everything is completely for free. Link is down below in the description. So with that being said right now, make the like button blue, boys, exactly as you said, the JRM PTRS. I mean, once again, I definitely do think 600 likes imminent as of right now. So it does look like right now Bitcoin is actually right now seeing a little bit higher price targets. We are trading above 49,000 US dollars. So maybe right now you're wondering, man, maybe you're asking me, hey, Hyper, where is going to be another resistance level if we are going to move higher? So once again, literally, of course, very, very simple. What we are going to do, we are going to go with our Fibonacci ratios right here, or actually our golden Fibonacci ratio from high to low right there. So if I would right now say which one is more important, I would definitely say 49,300 is a more important Fibonacci retracement, because we are literally measuring the entire move like that. So we have right now golden pocket 49,300 US dollars on Bitcoin. Important and key level I would definitely pay attention to for a potential short position. And I'm not saying, once again, I would not go with a short if there is only going to be our golden ratio, because it's just, in my opinion, it's not a good idea for you to be looking for shorts or long positions if there is only a golden pocket. I would definitely not be buying or selling every golden pocket there is. You want to see confluences, you want to see alignments on the chart, why this could be a very good area for a potential reversal to the downside on Bitcoin. And in my opinion, it's actually a significant resistance level. And how do I know that right now? Let me just remove our daily levels. Let me remove our channels right here. Let me just right now only apply the levels I see right there around the golden pocket. So simply right now, what we are going to be doing. Most probably you can right now actually see the entire price action Bitcoin has formed right here. Let's just say from approximately 20th of August to right now. So for the past 5 days, Bitcoin has been trading at approximately, let's just say 49,000 US dollars right here. So if we right now actually measure the volume of the entire price action here, what we are going to see, we can see the biggest volume level, volume cluster, volume resistance, point of control on Bitcoin at the golden pocket, exactly to the dollar aligning right now. So we have important volume level here. We have important Fibonacci ratio. Once again, we are going from the high of the move, we are going to the bottom of the move. Very, very, very important golden pocket right there. On top of that, let me go on our yesterday's volume. We are going to be measuring the volume we actually formed yesterday on Bitcoin. Let me go on the hourly time frame, what we are going to see right here. Maybe you can actually not really see that good, but let me just remove this one. Value area high. Previous day, value area high, exactly at the point of control and at the golden pocket right here. And also right now, clearly you can see if we are looking at our price action right here, not even looking at the Fibonacci levels, not even looking at the volume, we can clearly see our previous highs on Bitcoin, our previous lows were around this area. So we can, of course, go with our rectangle, identify some kind of a key resistance level right here, because it does look like level hit, pull down, level hit, pull down, level hit, pull down, level hit, pull to the downside. Of course, we broke this one to the upside. Once again, reaction right here, and once again, this area right here is acting once again as our resistance level. So once again, if we go with our Fibonacci ratios, once again, literally it's going to be exactly in the golden pocket, $49,300 US if Bitcoin right now is going to see higher price targets. I mean, maybe we could actually maybe even see some kind of the wick to the upside and then a pull to the downside, because let me just show you that. If you would go with Fibonacci speed fans here, it does look like also our Fibonacci speed fan is going to be approximately, definitely not exactly. So for example, maybe a wick to the upside and then a pull down, approximately $49,300 US on Bitcoin. So once again, in my opinion, it's going to be a very, very important resistance level for Bitcoin, where I do have set take profit area if we are right now actually going to see higher price targets of my long position. But right now, remember, it is not 100% probability that we are going to see a rejection right here, because maybe Bitcoin is going to pump to the upside. Maybe tomorrow we are going to already be at $1 million US on Bitcoin. Who knows what's going to happen with 100% accuracy? But we need to think like that. Do we have a higher probability of getting at least some kind of the price reaction right here? Or do we have a higher probability of just smashing through the level? In my opinion, we have a higher probability of potentially, of course, getting a rejection right here. And if we are going to be at this area right now on Bitcoin, I would once again only be interested going with a short, with a sell, with a take profit area from the long, or of course, if you're not comfortable, definitely maybe no position. But once again, I would not be looking for buys here, because it's a key level, volume level right here, Fibonacci speed fan level right here. Previous highs were there, previous lows, of course, clearly it would be a key level. And of course, also our volume level is right now literally exactly here. So once again, massive resistance level where I would only be interested into a potential short, maybe even with a potential, take profit area. Definitely this is for me right now. But yeah, definitely potential short, no buys. Even, for example, even where we are at the moment, in my opinion, it's actually not a smart buy. But if you go higher, massive resistance level right here, where potentially I would be interested going with a short position on Bitcoin. Once again, that does not mean the level is going to hold. Still, I am setting the stop loss, I have proper position size, I have proper take profit area on Bitcoin if we are then actually going to see a rejection exactly at the level. But once again, it is the resistance level, and this is right now the reason why I would definitely be looking right now towards $49,300 US here on the Bitcoin price if we are right now going to see higher price targets right here. Remember actually before where I was actually mentioning that Bitcoin, if we do go right now higher, potential ABC move to the upside could actually occur. This is, in my opinion, right now actually very, very important thing. So let's say right now, because let's just be realistic right now. It is a key level right here. It is the resistance level. So if Bitcoin right now is then going to actually see a rejection around the golden pocket, approximately 49,300. So what we can then also identify, we got a pull to the downside, we got a pull to the upside. So remember before, if we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 moves down, potentially we could be expecting, let's say maybe even at least ABC move to the upside. So if we do expect ABC, we got our A wave right now, potentially rejection to the downside, maybe at the golden pocket, which is going to be potentially, let's say, our B. And then, of course, ABC, potentially we are forming a higher high, and of course, another pull to the upside. So you can clearly see where I'm going with that. Potentially, Bitcoin could actually be forming another harmonic pattern. Of course, it is actually very, very early for us to be looking for this harmonic pattern, but you can already right now see we are, in my opinion, right now, we are actually one step ahead of the market. We are looking at a potential pattern before it's even forming. So we are already prepared, potentially trading the CD wave to the upside right here. If, of course, once again, Bitcoin is going to see a rejection right here. But all I would like to say, if we do see a rejection at approximately golden pocket right here and a pull to the downside, of course, once again, it needs to be a higher low. Of course, it could also be a lower low. But of course, Bitcoin could right here be forming another harmonic pattern on the hourly time frame. I'm most probably going to be talking about that maybe tomorrow, maybe also on Twitter, if that's actually right now actually going to be the case on Bitcoin. But nevertheless, maybe just something to be aware of, that potentially, of course, we could be here, maybe even forming some kind of the harmonic pattern on the BTC chart. On the other hand right now, what I would also like to show you, because Bitcoin got a bounce approximately, almost exactly, I would actually say, approximately 0.5 Fibonacci retracement level. I mean, on the other hand, there could also be potentially maybe even another harmonic pattern forming, let's say, on Bitcoin. Of course, once again, it's very, very early for us to actually be talking about that because it's not even formed right now. But I would just like to show you right now what could happen in the next couple of, let's just say, hours, maybe even minutes, maybe even days right now, Bitcoin. Bigger harmonic right here, or maybe, of course, a smaller harmonic right here. We are going to see if any of them is actually going to play out, but I would just like to say right now, it is a possibility that a harmonic pattern right now is actually going to form right now, right here on the BTC chart. So let's say right now, let's say Bitcoin is going to see a pull to the downside. Let's say we are going to see a reversal approximately at our golden pocket. Where are we going to have our first support level? Once again, very, very simple. We measure the volume of the entire price action. What we can see, our first important support level would be value area low volume support level right here. $48,200 is going to be some kind of the support level if Bitcoin right now is actually going to see a little bit bigger pull to the downside. I mean, if we go right now higher, this is then going to be approximately 2% pretty much. If we are going to see that big of a pull to the downside. But I mean, this is right now going to be our value area low. Once again, our volume support level on Bitcoin. Or also, of course, you can then also go for example, with your Fibonacci levels from swing low to swing high. I mean, golden pocket is, in my opinion, a key level. But once again, we would like to see right now where the top is for us to actually measure even where the golden pocket is going to be. Of course, potentially you can also measure, for example, to this pivot right here. Let me just go like that. Maybe you can also go to this pivot. Maybe we are going to go a little bit higher to the, maybe we are going to wick to the upside to actually hit our Fibonacci speed fan. Then we have, of course, the golden pocket at the value area low. Very, very nice support level, $48,000 on Bitcoin once again. But as I said before, it's actually very, very early for us to be measuring with a Fibonacci retracement because we would like to see where is the high, and then of course we are going to be pulling our Fibonacci retracement. But I mean, volume as of right now, it's actually going to be right here, 48,200. Maybe tomorrow, maybe when the next candle is going to print right here, of course the volume can also change because literally, of course, the volume is changing literally every single move of the price because of course, if you're measuring right here with the most recent volume, of course, the volume is definitely going to be potentially different when the new candles are actually going to open on the BTC chart. But as of right now, we have the value area low, in my opinion, our first some kind of the support level right here at approximately $48,200. I mean, even once again, even if we are not looking at the volume, how we can identify the support level, we can go with the rectangle, for example. Clearly, we can actually see right now. Let me just go like that. Our support level here, pull to the upside, support level, pull to the upside, support level, pull to the upside, resistance, pull down, resistance level, pull to the downside. You get the point right now. As of right now, we are above the level. So because of that, of course, would be our support area at approximately $48,200 on Bitcoin because our previous lows were there, previous highs were there. And because of that, it is definitely some kind of the key level forming right now on Bitcoin, our first support level. Another important support level is also actually right now forming for Bitcoin on the daily time frame, because if we would go on the daily level, I mean, what we can see right here, our daily candle, I mean, most probably the daily candle is going to close green, something like that, in around 4 hours and 51 minutes. Most probably, once again, I mean, maybe we are going to see a dump in the next 5 hours, let's say, but most probably I would say the daily candle is going to close something like that. And if we are closing the daily candle like that, we are going to then go with our brand new daily support level, $47,700 on Bitcoin. I'm just going to put this one straight into the folder. So yeah, this is right now going to be our brand new daily support level at $47,700 if maybe Bitcoin is right now actually going to see a bigger pull to the downside. So just another level, in my opinion, that you need to be aware of, because once again, it would be our daily support level. On a high term time frame, we are looking at the support levels, and this one right here is definitely a key level forming right now on the BTC chart. So this is right now actually going to be our Bitcoin price prediction, our Bitcoin technical analysis. And I would definitely like to look at different indicators. But before we go into the indicators, if you want to trade Bitcoin and Ethereum with us, right now you can get up to $3,000 for free in trading bonus, up to 1,000 on Bybit, up to 2,000 on Famex exchange. After you sign up on the platform, after initial deposit on the platform, you get the bonus, you can trade with the bonus, and then of course also withdraw the profits to your own wallet. So literally you get the bonus, you can place a free trade pretty much up to 1,000 or up to 2,000 US dollars on Famex. Place a trade. You can of course potentially be also looking to go with a short position using this free bonus on Bybit and of course also on Famex exchange right here. If you want to buy the altcoins, I'm personally still using right now Binance. In my opinion, for altcoins, one of the best exchanges. So definitely all of the links are actually down below in the description. Let's see. Let's see. Do we maybe actually have any interesting questions? If yes, I would definitely like to answer them. But let me just see. I think we got a donation, if I remember correctly. Yes. Darwin Castro, thank you very much for your donation. Welcome to the stream. Hi Hyper, would you wait September to make a good portfolio hodl? Would you wait to September to make a good portfolio hodl? Oh, actually, I think right now you're asking me if I would be waiting until September, if I personally think right now that Bitcoin is going to go down in September to make a good portfolio for holding. Very, very good question. I would actually say like that right now. I would potentially already be starting to go into the altcoins and also into Bitcoin, Ethereum. Dollar cost averaging, in my opinion, the smartest, safest, and also easiest strategy. Because once again, unfortunately, we do not really have 100% probability we are going to right now actually go to the downside. But I mean, I do actually have some very good, I would say, indications that potentially, yes, we could go lower in September of 2021. So if September in 2021 is going to be bearish or actually red, I would actually definitely be looking to pick up some altcoins, to pick up some Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc, etc. But you're right now asking me, would you wait till September to make a good portfolio for holding? I would say like that. If you feel a little bit more risky, I would potentially wait. If you feel a little bit safer, or I would say if you, if you already want to accumulate already where we are at the moment, I mean, to be honest, if we are going to, let's say, get a rejection maybe right now at around 50,000, I mean, not 50,000, that's 49,300, let's say, maybe a pull to the downside. I mean, I would actually say buying right now at the areas for Bitcoin, Ethereum, it's not really, I would say, it's not really, if you look like that, of course, on the daily time frame, we already got a significant pull to the upside, which looking on the daily, it's not really the best time for buying BTC. So, I mean, maybe I would actually say maybe I would even wait until September to make a good portfolio. Of course, once again, depends how much risk are you willing to take. If you feel riskier, I would wait till September, or potentially already right now start dollar cost averaging, maybe even I would say lower amounts of capital into crypto. But once again, September could actually be bearish. And I mean, once again, on the daily time frame, if you look like that, we already got a significant pull to the upside. Of course, because of that, potentially we could be, I mean, even for example, if we go to 51,000 US dollars, 52,000, it is significant resistance level, at least right here, maybe then we could be expecting another pull to the downside, maybe to our daily 47,700. So, I mean, very good question, but unfortunately, I also do think I do not really have a very clear answer for this one. But September, yes, it could be, I would say, bearish. I mean, at least a little bit more red. I mean, once again, I'm going to be talking about that in the next couple of days for Bitcoin. Why I would be potentially expecting lower price targets, maybe even in September. But to make a good portfolio, I mean, dollar cost averaging, you can never go wrong with dollar cost averaging. That's all I would like to say here. You can never go wrong. Literally, you are buying through a longer period of time. So you're getting the average price. It's the easiest, it's the safest option to be investing into crypto. But once again, if you are feeling riskier, potentially in September, you are going to get a little bit better price targets, better prices, investing in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other things, I would say. Hopefully it actually makes sense what I just said. But once again, I do not really have a clear answer because, of course, also, I do not know if we are going to move higher, if we are going to move lower. Of course, once again, nobody does know with 100% accuracy if we go lower or higher. But once again, September could be bearish, and also potentially looking on the daily, we already got a significant increase in the price. So because of that, yeah, I mean, yeah, dollar cost averaging is always a good idea, but yeah. Why no mention of the daily Bitcoin bearish divergences? I'm going to go through the indicators in a moment. I do think, yeah, we are on the RSI. I think we are forming a bearish divergence there. Yeah, I mean, maybe we go through, we are going to go through indicators literally in the next couple of minutes. Yoshi, thank you very much for your donation, Crow Coin Analysis. We could go through this one. After we are actually done with, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and also CHZ and audio. Then we are going to actually go straight into Crow USDT. Thank you very much for watching the live stream. Hyper, what do you think about the 50k? There is a pitchfork resistance plus R2 pivot resistance level. 50,000 is all. Yeah, 50,000 is resistance level, definitely. I think there's also a daily there. Yeah, daily would be 49,500. I mean, 50k would be. Oh, actually, is the daily aligning with golden pocket here? Very close, actually. I mean, you also have the daily here. So maybe, of course, a wick to the upside, like literally.
Hi, it's Dave. What follows is my conversation with Anatoly Yakovenko. He is the co-founder of the Solana protocol, which claims to solve the biggest problems facing blockchains like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, and others. Rather than proof of work or proof of stake, Solana is pursuing what is called proof of history. And at the time of this recording, Solana's SOL token has a market cap of $10 billion and is attracting a lot of attention from those saying it might be the Ethereum killer. I spent the last couple of weeks watching dozens of videos about Solana and had a ton of questions I wanted answered myself. At the core, I'm looking to understand the essence of Solana and if it can really live up to its potential in a crowded crypto space. The first 10 minutes or so of the conversation, my mic was actually turned off. So I've edited out those questions and replaced them with some text slides. I hope you enjoy the conversation.
There's basically two problems that are interesting in these systems. This idea of proof of work, it's an availability system. It never actually guarantees consistency. It never guarantees that the entire chain is fully committed and is never going to go away. What it does guarantee, though, is when you have your Bitcoin and you observe blocks building on top of it, you can calculate how much thermodynamic energy has been spent to secure your Bitcoin, right? You can say, okay, even though this chain is never going to guarantee that I actually have my Bitcoin, but this $100 million or $200 million or billions and billions upon dollars of electricity guarantee that it's going to take at least that much to take it away from me, right? And that accumulation of that security is a property that is unique to proof of work. At the same time, it's weak it's actually pretty weak at guaranteeing censorship resistance in the same sense that you and me are able to communicate in a peer-to-peer fashion with everybody in the world instantly. Like that instantaneous communication, that like the end general's problem in the moment, if you want to think about it, proof of work is really, really bad at that because you can revert short forks, right? And the way hash power and mining concentrates in a very few set of block producers. There's maybe 5 block producers that add up to 51%. Now, you as a Bitcoin holder, you don't really care about that because every block they produce just makes more your crypto that you're not spending or just storing, in case something goes wrong. It just makes it even more secure. So there's this kind of, that side of it, I think, is very well optimized for store of value, but absolutely broken for finance. And finance depends on actually censorship resistance, or this ability for information to flow with extremely high reliability in the moment, like right now. One way that I kind of describe it is, these big concrete buildings in Manhattan that stock exchange, they literally have mainframe computers that have CPUs that replicate the exact same instruction. There's an array of these CPUs, and if one has an error, they can hot swap them, right? So they can replace the broken CPU, put a new one in without interrupting the markets, because it's so important that it never happens. That piece is fault tolerance, and that's kind of like hard engineering fault tolerance problems. But if I want to trade in that system and I go through all the hoops to get my servers there, they will cut me a cable that's exactly the same length as everyone else's cable. to guarantee that my information has fair and open access to these markets amongst all the other participants, that nobody's really getting ahead of anyone else. And that bit is the censorship resistant piece. Right now, like Bitcoin is guaranteeing fault tolerance to a very extremely high degree for like kind of storing your Bitcoin. And fault tolerance isn't quite the right way to correct it, but it's not really guaranteeing that when I submit my transaction that it's going to be included in like 2 seconds, right? Like neither is Ethereum, because there's so much congestion and so much demand, and so few miners control the access to that network, that those guarantees are not really applied. There's market forces that allow some participants access, but it's not the same as every market maker in the world, every trader in the world can go take a trade and put it in the system. And this is where Solana shines. How do we maximize the minimum set of entities that could potentially disrupt the flow of information, right? The larger set, the bigger that set gets, the harder it is for all of them to coordinate to do so, the more secure the network is from that information flow perspective. And therefore, systems that are running inside of it that are fundamentally markets become fair and more open. And, long-term goal for us is, people ask me, are we an Ethereum killer? I've never thought of Ethereum as something to be killed. It's an awesome open source project. Our seed level slide said Solana's blockchain and Nasdaq speed, right? They didn't say Ethereum 2.0. We're targeting more like, bigger dragons there, right? Like we want this like foundational, fundamental engine of finance, which is global price discovery. We want that to be fair and open, running on open software, open hardware run by volunteers, effectively, all around the world. So that's the fundamental difference between, I think, store of value and proof of work. If you're optimizing for that, and I think what we're doing, which is censorship resistance, of information flow. How can we guarantee that any two parties in the world in any moment are guaranteed that they can send a financial message to each other at a fair and open network?
Okay, so let me kind of summarize. Correct me if I'm wrong here. So with proof of work, right now that's the best we have in terms of kind of store value, because it basically pulls together all of the energy that was required to secure that network, which is extremely expensive. And you guys on the other side are not necessarily, solving the store value problem, but you're solving a different problem, which is the whole information flow, the flow of information at very fast speeds, also low cost, to create, I guess, market dynamics on the blockchain in a true sense. I mean, can you explain kind of what's been holding back crypto? I mean, because we have, the promise of DeFi, of crypto, to provide that info flow, but it seems like there's lots of gas fees, lots of, different problems. What's been kind of like the Achilles heel or the issue kind of behind all this?
So I think projects that came out of Bitcoin, like Ethereum, they're kind of carrying their baggage with them still. They're thinking about store value, self-sovereign money. That is like an important use case, and they don't want to give it up. So I think ironically is they're trying to build these other things that I think much more interesting, but they want to keep that piece, which is impossible to do without just being Bitcoin. So this is where I think the value that you're adding is removing so much of the original vision of Bitcoin, that you're kind of creating a worse overall kind of product or combination of the numbers all these factors are Pareto efficient, right? The trade-offs you're making, I think, end up not being Pareto efficient. On the censorship resistance piece, this is from the ground up, ignoring everything about what people think of proof of work and what people think of enterprise blockchain. It has none of those things in it. It's really what if we had a global price discovery engine? What if you could have this machine, right, that's fully connected, single sharded. There's no compromises on the communication aspect of it. That guaranteed that any two peers that are using it around the world have effectively a fully connected system. That, like censorship resistance and general's problem, if you have a solution for that, then all the users that are using that black box, you can consider them fully connected. They're no longer using an intermediary that can disrupt the information flow from any connection. And if you have that at a global scale and this thing is running markets and doing price discovery, then you've effectively kind of, I think, unleashed this like idea of true peer-to-peer financial systems that are totally running in software without any intermediaries on the world. I think that's really disruptive and kind of a really just, why not? Like, and really cool to think about. At like the physics level, people often ask us like, well, NASDAQ has like sub 1 millisecond trades. How you are compete with that? Reality is that news, like information around the world, travels at speed of light through fiber. Like it still has to go through speed of light through fiber. Some event happens in Moscow and Hong Kong, that information travels speed of light through fiber to a terminal in Bloomberg that a trader looks at. Well, at the same time, a state transition through Solana, right, can be inserted at Moscow and propagate through the network, through Solana, right, for that market. So when the trader actually looks at a price at the New York Stock Exchange and a price on a market like Serum running on our information network effectively, that price is already reflected. That for all the important newsworthy trades, you can have instantaneous global clearing and settlement. Like execution and clearing, and then some settlement layer can do that later. So that's pretty fundamentally different than these centralized systems where you have to jump through a bunch of hoops to get your connection, to get a box in, and then somebody that pays more has a higher priority than you. I think that could really, in my mind, transform finance. We could be 10 years from now, we could be living in a world where 100 million people put in 1 cent into, your house purchase in San Francisco.
So there's, I want to get into the specific technicals behind, proof of history and why Solana or how Solana works. But before that, I want to give some context here. So, I was kind of looking into what Solana, how many transactions you guys are doing right now. Looks like you guys are doing like, between 500 and 1,000 transactions per second. But this is like these are real transactions, right? These are not just test transactions. This is like real world activity, right? Happening right now, right?
So 20 million a day Serum. About half of those transactions are consensus messages themselves. So it's just nodes using the network themselves to synchronize. We have a different design from a lot of networks because we're optimizing for that core censorship resistance piece, where nodes that are participating in consensus, their votes are themselves signed messages that pay a fee, that have to pay a transaction fee like everything else, because they are competing for the same information resources as Serum markets. That it's not like a system where you have one platform and then that allows other applications to run. It is like this shared pipe for everything. So about half of those, about 50%, are consensus messages. So I wouldn't want to count those as user data. About the other 40% are Serum. This is a central limit order book built by the folks out of FTX initially. Now it's its own community and like community run project. It operates just like a central limit order book does on NASDAQ or on Binance or on FTX. So there's a bunch of market makers that are constantly submitting orders, cancels. And that thing does, 200-300 times more transaction messages than Uniswap. But that doesn't mean that there's that many more users, right? Like it's just Uniswap is a different kind of financial system that is constant function market makers. They're super cool design, but is not the same as like a market maker driven central limit order book. But that that is real businesses, real market makers, real traders trading on this thing. So that's real activity.
Yeah. It's yeah, it's definitely fascinating. So I mean, Serum, for those who don't know, it's basically an exchange, right? You could basically buy different currencies, exchange them, and they're running on top of Solana right now. They chose you guys mainly because of these characteristics where you could have an immense amount of output or throughput transactions per second, but they're extremely inexpensive, each transaction. Can you give us an idea of like how much each transaction costs? I mean, I guess it varies according to the amount, right, of each transaction or the value of transaction.
It's not value based, so it is it's more the token, right? The SOL token is there to prevent spam on the network. Part of what could be causing spam is CPU time, right? Data, like storage, etc. So our target for the cost to use the network based on current global bandwidth prices is about $10 for a million messages. So that's, I think, 10,000 times cheaper than Ethereum, or I mean, it depends which Ethereum you're looking. The way I think of Ethereum when it was still 10 cents a transaction. Now that it's $100 per transaction in Ethereum, it's 10 million times cheaper than Ethereum is today. But again, who we set our sights on was Nasdaq, which I believe their message rates are like 0.15, something like that.
Got it. So, I mean, you guys got this, you got your working protocol up, you've got, it tested out, you have real life transactions, 500 to 1,000 transactions per second happening right now on the Solana blockchain. This is not just theoretical. We're going to release this in 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
What's like, what are the limitations? I mean, can you guys do you have smart contracts, the ability to put smart contracts on your blockchain? And is it any different than Ethereum and their approach?
Yeah, it's quite different. EVM is like another thing that I feel like is holding back the industry. EVM is a really kind of slow sequential virtual machine that's stack based, that's got these massive 256-bit values. It wasn't designed for speed in any way.
For those who don't, for those watching don't know, EVM is the Ethereum virtual machine that basically runs the Ethereum network. Go ahead.
It wasn't built by folks that have been like optimizing virtual machines for decades. So we're using Berkeley Packet Filter, which is a virtual machine built by the Linux kernel community. It's designed to execute inside the Linux kernel. So it has the highest security requirements out of any VM out there, but also the highest performance requirements because it's used for network switch operation. So BPF on its own has been demonstrated to do 60 million packets per second inside the Linux kernel. So it kind of has these really nice optimizations that make it really easy to optimize it on modern day hardware. So this is why we chose BPF as our target virtual machine. So the way that you use it is Solidity in Ethereum has this implementation that's also the standard, kind of one vertically integrated thing where Solidity compiler spits out EVM bytecode that's executed on the EVM virtual machine. BPF, because it's a standardized language, has LLVM as its compiler, which is a standard compiler used by Apple, Intel, NVIDIA, Qualcomm, you name it, to compile any number of front-end languages. Right now, we are primarily focusing on Rust as our smart contract language. And it's kind of, if you're familiar with Java, C++, you should be able to pick it up in a week. It's a modern version of this, so it has a lot of advancements in type theory have been adopted in Rust. It was built initially by the Mozilla team, but is now, I think it's been voted #1 as the most favorite language by GitHub engineers. I think it's in the top 10 or top 15 in terms of popularity on GitHub as a language. Most modern blockchains themselves are built in Rust, which is interesting. It's being proposed as a language for the Linux kernel. which is kind of mind-blowing to me because I worked in the Linux kernel and it's all C, and Linus has been like so adamant about rejecting C++, but I believe he sees in Rust what I see in Rust, which is a really nice, clean implementation of a modern type system on top of a language that is really optimized for hardware.
Awesome. So in terms of smart contracts, I mean, if you guys can do smart contracts, you guys are proving, your throughput and your transactions. Why is there a need for Ethereum 2.0? Like, what's the point?
So the philosophy of like Ethereum is still kind of, I believe, is straddling both of those worlds, right? One is, I think we're primarily focused on information flow. How do we build this super connected world, right? How do we simulate censorship resistance to the level that you can't differentiate that from, if everybody in the world had like neutrino lasers that we could unobstructedly use to talk to each other, right? That's like the physical network that we're trying to build. Ethereum is really focused on this idea that you can replace proof of work or self-sovereign money or store of value with proof of stake systems with a massive number of them that all verify each other. It's interesting. Like I don't know if they'll succeed, but it's worth trying. This is what they believe, right? Like it's an open source project, open source community. Because the space, like the trade-offs are Pareto efficient. You can't do one or the other. There's absolutely zero chance that central limit order books are going to run on Ethereum, ETH1 or ETH2. Like that kind of scaling, they're just not doing. I suspect that if we succeed in our goal of really truly building this massively censorship resistant system such that it takes 10,000 independent parties to collude to disrupt the flow of information. I think the properties of store of value will emerge there as well, because I believe that the proof of work piece isn't necessarily as important as the number of people involved with cryptographic keys that are all signing the same kind of state. Like the real security, is the people at the end of the day, right? We can all reject proof of work and switch to something else, right? That Bitcoin state machine could be running on Solana, and if it's 1,000 people, it might not be worth something, but if it's 100 million, if it's a billion, then all of a sudden the same properties that you see at a proof of work will start to emerge just from this idea that a billion people can coordinate over the exact same state. But that's we'll see if that happens. That's kind of a unknown still.
Mm-hmm. Got it. I mean, from what I'm hearing, you're saying that with Ethereum 2.0, they're still trying to they're trying to do both, the best of both worlds in their view, trying to solve the store of value problem, as well as trying to improve their whole, transaction information flow problem. But in your view, they're compromising on both, basically. They might not be as good as Bitcoin in terms of store of value, and they're obviously not as good as, for example, some other projects like Solana on throughput and information flow. How about Lightning?
So there's no other project that is actually like really committed to this idea of maximizing censorship resistance. There's not one. I honestly feel that we came out at this with a really in the unique quadrant. Like, how do we solve this problem and only this problem as the fundamental thing that we're working on?
Okay. I want to ask about this. So maximizing censorship resistance. So, what does that mean exactly? I mean, because all blockchains and crypto will say, hey, this is decentralized, secure. Okay. So meaning things flow. But in terms of why do you say that you guys are the only
security? So security comes from cryptography, right? In any properly implemented layer one, if my keys are not leaked, nobody can steal my funds, right? That's impossible, right? Let's say I have some keys that represent USDC. So Circle is the thing that's providing custody for the dollars in a bank, and I have digital representation of those with my keys that I hold. The intermediate network, if it's 100% corrupted, between me and Circle, no matter what they do, they cannot steal my keys because there's no way they can convince Circle that I signed a message that says spend Anatoly's dollars. So the fundamental security of value is my keys, right, between me as a peer and Circle. So all of these layer ones, unless they screw something up horribly, should be secure. Then the question is, can they guarantee liveness or consistency, right? Can they guarantee both of those properties to a very high degree? And that's the hard part. So the challenge for censorship resistance is that it's really hard. Like, it's really hard to guarantee that you have the performance necessary to handle that a very large set of nodes that could potentially disrupt the flow of information, because that set has to be super connected. They have to process all of each other's messages. If they don't, then there's a smaller set that can do it, right? So there's that minimum set. Maximizing it means maximizing the amount of data, messages, cryptographic signatures that all the participants in the network have to read and write. And that is kind of a problem of hardware optimizations. How do I how do I go and like take this cryptographic operations, move them to GPUs? How do I move them to CPUs, to, single SIMD, AVX, whatever have you? How do I minimize the amount of time it takes to read packets from network cards into the kernel, right? Like, it's not computer science. It's just kind of blood, sweat, and tears engineering. So like doing that is just hard. Imagine, right? Like USDC, USDT, those are the top traded base pairs on exchanges, or right? And the value of who owns USDT, or that information, who owns USDT and USDC, is traveling across between exchanges. If the only network that information can travel through, let's say, is Ethereum, and it takes 5 mining pools, actually 3 mining pools, to hit up to 51%, then those mining pools decide whose dollars get to travel from Coinbase to Binance to FTX first, right? So they get to prioritize which financial institution gets to take advantage of any market opportunity in any of these marketplaces. So just three entities, right? They get to pick, right? And right now, because crypto, I think, is still quite immature, it's not a huge problem. But we start seeing that being a problem in like things like miner extracting value in flashbots and things like that are looking at trades and mempool and get to prioritize which trades or which blocks, and how me as a miner, how can I take advantage of that information, right? That when I'm constructing the block and extract the value from the users and from the network. So that bit, like that amount of information and value that any of these block producers can extract, it really depends on what is the smallest set, right, that control the network, that have the opportunities to do so. If we maximize that set to 10,000, right, or some large enough number, then it's effectively an open, fair marketplace, because information can flow freely, because it takes so many of them to really collude to disrupt its flow.
Got it. I mean, so you're saying that with Ethereum or some other chains, like if the mining pools are more consolidated, you have big players, that inherently, I guess, allows for more censorship or more opportunity for them to take advantage of that extra information that they have at the moment.
So, but fundamentally, that's a different form of censorship than I have my Bitcoin. There may be 5 mining pools today that won't let me spend it, but 5 years from now, there's going to be another set of mining pools that may, right? That Bitcoin guarantees that eventually somebody will accept your Bitcoin, because your Bitcoin is safe and secure. But because it's safe, and the guarantee that it's safe and secure from reversal of this fork, right? Of like somebody replacing the current ledger of Bitcoin with something else. And that's what gives this kind of, loop of self-sovereign money, right? It's its own money. It's hard to buy it, right? Because we're not talking, it's hard to analyze and hard to accept it as a truth because it's it's not the same as like understanding dollars between exchanges moving, by hedge funds, right?
Hmm.
That's like almost like a simple software problem. How do we guarantee that this is a fair market? Well, SEC and like a bunch of financial regulation in the United States guarantees it at the physical level, right, between all of these like exchanges and financial institutions. There's enough regulation that they can't, screw each other.
Hmm.
But how do we do it in an open environment around the world, right? Open price discovery engine where anybody can participate.
Hmm.
Um, there's no global set of regulators that say you can't do this, and that would be impossible to enforce anyways,
Hmm.
right? So, and we have the opportunity to do this with commodity hardware and software. So that's, I think, both the challenge and the opportunity here.
Interesting. I mean, with Bitcoin, in terms of censorship resistance, would you say that it's that they have censorship resistance? It's just more limited. It's not maximized in terms of information flow, but at least it's there with,
It's
or it's
it's
not.
uh it's different.
Mm,
The idea that if you have Bitcoin and you try to spend it, that eventually some honest block producer will pick it up and spend it, right? It's that given unlimited amount of time, Bitcoin can provide extremely high degree of censorship resistance,
mhm.
but it doesn't guarantee immediate information flow.
Got it. Yeah. So in terms of maximizing, especially with information flow, there's major limitations. Um, I'm wondering, what do you think about Lightning? I mean, some people are saying, hey, the second layer solution, Bitcoin it'll transform Bitcoin into this payment network. Maybe it solves the information flow problem. I mean, what are your thoughts with that?
I don't, does anybody need payments for Bitcoin? I feel like if payments was such a really killer use case for Bitcoin, then there would be Square app and mobile that was in between, like was good enough in terms of security that would let us send, wrap BTC and Solana to each other. Is that something that Bitcoin even needs or care or anybody that's using Bitcoin even cares about it?
Hmm.
There's some small percentage of people, right, that are all working on it, but I think it's not like a burning fire of a problem for Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin is functioning as a kind of this like settlement layer between exchanges. That's an interesting use case.
Yeah. I mean, what's your take on the future of payments? I mean, does crypto, do you think, play a role where we're going to be, transferring just tips and different, money back and
Totally.
forth across, you know, different to different people across different geographies, or do you think, um, and like, do you think it's just going to be for a blockchain that's meant for that, that's designed, for payments?
There's nothing that you would design differently about that blockchain than already doesn't exist on Solana. Like in terms of the hardest problem, how do you make them is censorship resistance at scale? Because the network has to be massively decentralized and has to be insanely high performant to handle market makers like that are sending, 300 more cancel messages per trade for a single trade. So in terms of kind of performance and loads, Nasdaq style like real time trading is a much harder problem. Um, I think payments is it's also like, this was like the story of 2018, 2017. Is payments going to be big?
Yeah.
Possibly. Like I think the interesting part there isn't the peer to peer send you dollars. You can do that with Venmo already. Um, what's interesting to me about it is how rapidly teams can innovate and custom design products and kind of bespoke solutions for smaller networks, for like merchants, for like smaller groups of people that like maybe communities in Reddit. Um, all of this stuff is really hard to do. It's hard to do this long tail of development where there is still financial, you know, money being spent, money being shared between large number of parties kind of collectively getting together on the internet. That's really hard to do with Venmo, right? Like Venmo doesn't have this like run your own code kind of system, right? uh, but for blockchains with smart contracts do. You could start like, I don't know if you're in Reddit, right? There was a Secret Santa on Reddit, which is awesome that they kind of stopped. But you could build a Secret Santa payments coordinator to presents to NFTs thing on Solana, and you can't do that with Venmo, right? Like it's just like that stuff doesn't exist or is hard to build and deploy in centralized systems because underneath the hood, right, on a centralized system is a big pile of regulatory overhead and licensing that really prevents them from shipping anything like really quickly. The cryptography, my keys, your keys, that's what allows devs to not be custodians of any of the funds, to truly just build applications that plug in these, my information and yours in a trustless way. And that's what allows them to iterate like much, much faster than anything in traditional finance. So
interesting. Yeah, I want to unpack this a bit. So, I mean, you're saying that Solana has everything you need for payments, right, to establish a payment protocol. But to clarify, are you saying kind of like more simple payments, just like $2 to somebody to tip somebody? Do you think crypto has some fundamental disadvantages?
No, like
compared to Venmo or PayPal or something.
It's those already exist. So how do you replace them? Like why would I?
Got it.
Like why would I use anything else if me and like my friends all have Venmo?
Yeah.
Right. There has to be something that Venmo can't do that this thing can do. Something that I need to do. Right. Like I have to have a need to use it.
And then you're saying that there could be more advanced types of payments, like let's say the Reddit Secret Santa type of structure that is more suited or has an crypto has an advantage, or something built on Solana, for example. But I mean, some people, I mean, okay, why do they call it cryptocurrency then? I mean, in terms of the currency aspect, I mean, that's like, it's meant to currency in a sense, you exchange it for like, everyday stuff. But I mean, would crypto assets be a better, or crypto something else? Like, I mean, what are your thoughts on this whole thing?
Because Bitcoin is self-sovereign money, right? It is, it's money that is issued by a decentralized network and is secured by electricity. So Bitcoin is equivalent to the government issuing dollars, right? Like it's a currency. So this idea that that you could even do that is kind of mind-boggling, right? Like you got to unpack like 10,000 years of history and like kind of dig into like where did money even come from to even comprehend that that's possible. I don't
yeah.
So do you like if you accept that, right? Like if you can kind of convince yourself that Bitcoin is money.
Okay,
right?
I want to actually push back on that a bit. Let's say hypothetically someone says, well, Bitcoin is only money because people believe it's money. Like anyone can copy the GitHub code, right? Fork it, create a new Bitcoin clone and say, oh, I've created, the next government global reserve system, money, currency, whatever, but no one believes in it. So it doesn't mean anything. What if it's only the belief that has value that's giving its validity toward, it's money and currency?
So I tend to agree with you. That's kind of an unproven, we haven't tested that yet. And the only way we can test it is if we can get 100 million people, 1 billion people, all coordinating over the same state, right? The same token on some other network that is proof of stake, has nothing to do with proof of work. The only network you can do that is Solana. so I am curious, like I want to see this experiment play out. Can you build a token, like a social token, a community token for a group, like that, replaces advertisement with just the token being traded amongst the people, giving each other tips for jokes or whatever. If that scales to 100 million people, 200 million people, 1 billion people, will that social network, that coordination, right? That belief that this thing has value simply because it connects me to this massive group of people around the world. Is that going to have the same properties as store value? You know, I tend to think so. Like personally, I think that the power, the innovation, like the true innovation in the space has nothing to do with the layer one proof of work, proof of stake stuff. It's empowering individuals with cryptography, like consumers that are able to sign messages, like sign cryptographic messages with ease, was just impossible before Bitcoin.
Hmm.
Like you had to get a certificate from VeriSign, like you had to like go pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to license like stuff from RSA or whatever. Like all this stuff was really crufty and like broken. Took me 6 months of meetings at Qualcomm to get a piece of code signed. Binance signs a million things per day.
Hmm.
Like MetaMask users, right? Sign a bunch. If you use MetaMask, you generate the same signatures with the same hardness and security as Google does for its internet certificates. But this is now distributed amongst people. And if you have a billion people that can do that, I believe that unless the internet is totally disrupted and walled off, some solution will come up to coordinate them. It's just kind of like, there's the market, go figure it out, right? Like, I think we're the closest to for that to be a possibility, but I honestly believe and at the end of the day, it's the people armed with cryptography that are more important than proof of work or anything else.
What are your thoughts on Dogecoin? Do you think there's some legitimate chance on Dogecoin becoming like, one of the major type of crypto assets out there? Or do you think it's just like a fad? What are your thoughts?
So this is again like this idea: is the power in the technology or is it in the community around it? If that community grows to 1 billion people, right, like then that becomes a very powerful thing. It's 1 billion people with cryptography. That cryptography represents shared state and this Dogecoin Merkle tree or whatever, right? Like that is a very powerful thing. And if it can grow to that, then in retrospect, we'll say it's inevitable, right? It was the funniest joke. Why wouldn't people do it? But like it's hard. It's hard to predict this stuff.
Got it.
I think Bitcoin has like has a really good meme, right? It's a bit more serious, which I
Mhm.
think people buy into, but I personally don't know. Like
Yeah.
this is beyond my engineering expertise and more into like
Yeah.
history, social
Yeah.
analysts,
Yeah.
analyzing like the social impact of money and things like that.
Yeah. It's like Bitcoin's memes are very powerful in the sense of like it's like FOMO, right? Missing out, but also like the Fed printing money, um, kind of this anti-establishment, message. Do you think how important is our cryptos? Is a meme to a crypto? Like, we're talking about this whole role of community. Like with Solana, how important is the community and let's say the greater adoption or popularity to your success versus proving it out with just technology, like a tech startup, for example?
Yeah, community was like really critical for us because of how hard like this technology is to build and deploy and test. And we, like I thought, to me it was obvious that there's going to be enough people out there that are like, oh, you want me to like go call up a local data center and ask him if I can build a box and run your validator? I'll do that, right? Like I think this is cool. I thought that there would be enough people, but a lot of people thought that there's no way this will ever get off the ground because of how hard it is. Like, Ethereum nodes are very easy to run. You can run them on your laptop. We get a lot of flack for that because it's hard to do. It's hard to run the network. But it ended up that our community is that of like builders that are kind of geek out on this stuff. They want to build their own servers. They want to like go call up a local data center because that's their buddy's ISP, right? That's like it's a much more kind of like small business kind of like folks getting together and building this out. Um, and that really kind of set the culture in our community for builders, for people that want to get hands-on and solve problems and like really solve the hard problems, like work on the hardest computer science or software or hardware problems.
Mm-hmm.
And
Good.
that like you can't buy. There's no way like you can you can like construct that. So we've been really blessed with how that turned out.
Mm-hmm. Um, I'm curious. Like we made an interesting, point about Solana already being, I guess, prepared and ready to be different use cases. Like for example, a currency. We're talking about the whole role of memes and community. Like, what is Solana's meme? Like, is there something that you guys thought about? Are you guys pushing a meme or something?
We
Like,
can't push a meme. That's the funny part, is there's no way you can push it because then it'll just horribly fail. And one meme that sprung up were these folks that wanted to wear these glasses called pit vipers. Let's see if I can
mhm.
have some around here. One sec. I'll find a pair. I don't even know where this meme originated, but all of a sudden, everybody that was talking about Solana was wearing these. So when I went to like Bitcoin Miami, there were a lot of people wearing these glasses that just I could kind of knew that they were fans of Solana. Um, I thought they were cool because I'm a cyclist and these are nice cycling glasses, polarized, white brim, look shiny. But you know, we have memes, but I don't know where they come from, to be
Got
honest.
it.
It's so weird. Like it's just um, once you have enough people together um, that are sharing something, um, just kind of culture starts springing up, like evolving.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I wonder, like with Bitcoin, part of the memes of FOMO and store value, it comes from the problem that they're trying to solve, right? That resonates with people. Um, with Ethereum, you have more of this whole kind of DeFi movement of whether it's lending or NFTs or, exchanges, all this stuff. For Solana, like what is that problem you're trying to solve that really is defining Solana for the time being? And
It's the censorship resistant piece. We really want to build that, maximize the minimum set of independent parties that could disrupt the flow of information.
I mean,
So
that
that,
it sounds great. I mean, okay, so theoretically, I get it in a sense, like, for example, your whole pitch thing of like, crypto for like NASDAQ speed, right? Information flow. You're really solving, and it seems like, yeah, if you can solve that, then you can solve like so many other use cases because like, that's like one of the ultimate use cases of information flow. And if you can make that decentralized, centralized, or censorship resistant, then it's like everything else seems like it would be easy in some ways, right? I mean, that seems to
yeah,
be like the case, but does that solve the a nagging problem for the average Joe on the street, like who's just like,
well, I,
mm,
like you look at the rate of yield, right, on these DeFi platforms, and it's 1,000 times higher than what you get out of a bank.
mhm,
And that's because there's no intermediaries between the value creators, right? You have application that's getting users, right? It's really hard to get users. It's really, really hard to build a community of business. Those are value creators. And then you have like market makers. It's really hard to synthesize all of this noise into risk, right? Into capital position at a risk. Um, and if it's running on blockchain, there's no intermediaries and the users get yields that are 10 to 15%
mhm.
with software that gives you clear expectations of risk of like what the risks are. Um, and you can't do that in traditional finance. Joe in the street doesn't have access to that through Bank of America, despite all of this like stuff that they've built up, right? So I think immediately we can transform how people treat money, right? Like how people deal with savings, with finance and manage risk. Like I think that could be transformative like today.
Uh-huh. I mean, it's, I mean, uh, I hope you don't mind kind of this becoming a dialogue conversation in a sense, but
Yeah,
like Ethereum seems to pitch that a lot, you know? Oh, it's, you know, take out the intermediary, get higher yields or bankless, whatever.
yeah.
Um, is it any
Well,
different?
Ethereum's trying to be everything, right? It's also store value. It's also
That's
ultrasound
true.
money. It's
But
also this.
yeah, but with Solana, like, are you guys, is there a case where you can make to the average Joe that you're doing that better?
Yeah, because we've optimized for this censorship resistance piece, that
Mm,
means that more users can participate at lower costs, right? They're
mm,
not dealing with fees or slow execution times. More market makers can participate. They can put more capital at risk. That
okay.
and like those returns can be better and bigger, right? That we can
Yeah.
actually do that part.
Well, can your yields actually be better or bigger compared to s-
In theory,
in theory?
in theory,
Because
as volumes grow, right? Like
uh-huh.
if volumes grow in Solana to be 10x of what's in Ethereum,
Hmm.
which I think is a completely possible, or 100x, then those yields will get, higher, and just you have more liquidity and more opportunity to kind of dial in. I want this much yield for this much risk.
Got it. Does solving for the censorship resistance, does that make you the fairest crypto out there?
It makes the network the fairest, right? Like, what is
Hmm.
fairness for crypto? I mean, I always think of it as this like information flow problem.
Yeah.
And if we solve that, right, like if we build a technology that really allows you to scale that censorship resistant piece, I think that would translate, over time into the fairest place, in the
Yeah.
fairest digital space.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like with like what I'm hearing, so I still want to get into the technicals, but what's fascinating with all this talk about community memes, popularity, all this stuff is that like I'm understanding that in a lot of ways the technical issues you guys are solving, which seems so fundamental, like information flow, censorship resistance, like market dynamics. If you could solve for, you know, NASDAQ type of market info flow, then you solve this for so much. But then to translate that into the average Joe, the person on Reddit or Twitter, to have some felt need, like they need to feel like some type of
Yeah.
thing about, and
Yes.
information flow doesn't really resonate, you know,
Well,
with
the most unfair markets right now
uh,
are like social networks, right? You go to
uh,
Reddit, you're in a part of some community.
mm,
There's somebody that's taking your data and then converting it into an ad that you don't want,
mm,
right? That's a
mm,
that's a market. Um, I believe like you already see some semblance of this, that communities like Cope, for example, they have a token. It's just a community token. It's just for fun. Um, be part of that community, you got to go get that token. And one monetization strategy would be like this platform that's running this could earn some return, right? Like they could actually get fees from the exchanges. And if you think about that, right, you have a network of people with a token that's just karma, like Reddit karma or like jokes, right? It represents something fun about that community. Um, and the platform's collecting fees from the exchanges, then everybody is happier the more interactions and more fun people are having, because there's more trading or more exchanges going on, and there's nobody is incentivized to steal your data and feed you information that you don't want, right? Like that's
mm.
a you took like an unfair market, right, and made it a fair and open one. That's really disruptive if it's possible, but you need to be able to execute this exchange of information cheaper than a Google ad, which
Mhm.
is zero point 0.2 cents, right?
Got
Like it
it.
has to be
Yeah.
dramatically cheaper than that.
Yeah. I mean, the
Um,
interesting example of that was what's that audio music company that's on Solana right now?
Audius.
Yeah, Audius. I was listening to an interview with Audius and kind of addressing some of that, like building a whole social network on top of a blockchain, which is kind of this theorized use case that people have given, but it's exciting to actually see it happen. You know that they're
It already happened.
yeah.
So DeFi Summer was more about the social part of it,
Hmm.
like this rapid formation of people around a meme, like all coming together around a single joke or meme, like around the world, like really, really rapidly. And that was 30, 40,000 people. So imagine as we get to a world where there is 500 million people that have cryptography that can be used to coordinate and come together into a social network. Like that's, if that was 30, 40,000 people that was causing DeFi summer, imagine 300 million, 400 million people all doing that at once. That's like what this technology is unlocking, like what the cryptography side is unlocking. Our job is to just make it possible for that coordination to happen the cheapest possible way, and the most censorship resistant way, because I think it should be obvious to everyone, right, that you really want to eliminate the ability for anybody to interfere with this large group of people communicating.
I know you guys, have tremendously low transaction fees. Is it possible ever to get to like close to zero transaction fees, or is there something inherently about just you have to reward and incentivize, the network?
So in theory, like the way we've designed it at the hardware level is that the parallel number, like the number of parallel events that could be processed, that's scalable with Moore's law. So it's not that like you and me could double the amount of bits that we're sending, the amount of transactions we're bouncing between us every 2 years, but the number of people that are simultaneously interconnected, right? That could double every 2 years, because Intel, AMD, NVIDIA, Samsung, like all the network card providers, they're doubling their bandwidth every 2 years. There's twice as many pins, twice as many cores, twice as many transistor, like the twice as much storage and SSDs, like all that stuff kind of goes up every 2 years. And that Moore's law is something that we're taking advantage of. And this is a EVM problem and kind of a runtime execution problem, but it's also a consensus problem and a network transmission problem and a storage problem. We've really just kind of 100% bought into this idea that that's possible and should be done. And Ethereum and a lot of other protocols have not. So we have a different philosophy around this.
Why? I mean, in some ways, like a lot of this stuff, it sounds like a little bit too good to be true with Solana. Like when I look at some of the stuff, so I wanted to actually ask you, and to figure out like what are some of its weaknesses. For example, like if you guys have really cracked the code in terms of low fees, scalability, even security, like why are there why are people still using, Ethereum? Why is there a Uniswap or a Compound or Aave or different, stuff happening on Ethereum? Or can we expect a lot more stuff to be happening on Solana very soon? Or are there some inherent disadvantages that Solana might have? What's your take?
So there's two questions there, right? Like why hasn't all this activity moved over? And the other one is what are the weaknesses to Solana? And the weaknesses are that it takes a lot more individual upfront time for you to go call a data center, right? Like some of them don't even have a website, or like it's a really busted website. These are like small shops that just connect cables, right, and provide power. Go call them up, see if they have 8 units of space for you or however much you need. Go build a system and go deploy it. That's something that is a barrier to entry for most people, but it's necessary because you can't like run the next generation financial system on Raspberry Pis and on laptops. And Tarun described this as like ETH2 trying to pull a cart with 100,000 chickens, and Solana's trying to pull that same cart with 10,000 horses. It's a lot easier to get 10,000 horses to go fast than 100,000 chickens, like all in the same direction. So you can think of that as like those two sides of the problem. And the reason for that, again, comes from this idea that Ethereum really wants this long tail of chickens to all verify like the most concentrated pieces of the network. So they're more worried about the store of value kind of monetary proposition of ETH. Solana is trying to maximize that set that can potentially block information, and that's just two different approaches to different problems. So the weakness comes from this difference in like kind of fundamentally how we're looking at it. The only way to solve this, maximizing this min set of it that could block information right now, is really you just need more hardware. There's no way around it, because they all have to verify each other. They all have to process each other's messages. It's a kind of a quadratic messaging problem. And the only way